I understand that. And actually, on that issue of big projects, then it brings about corruption, which has been the bane of the talk since the Moi regime. We just don't get past it. The politicians keep on promising us that, because even if we get the revenue up and we are leaking the money somewhere, that means the net effect will be zero. So what do you suggest in terms of corruption? Because that's a huge issue in the country for the past 40, 50 years. How do we go about it? Which institutions need to be strengthened? Which systems need to be strengthened so that we can see this monster called corruption in our country disappear?
I think when it comes to corruption, institutions do play a role, but I think there's just a lack of political will in Kenya. If there's no political will to actually eradicate or reduce corruption, fortunately, we cannot completely eradicate it because we are human beings and we are inherently evil. But if we are not able to have political will from the top, the fight for corruption will always become a lot of noise. Look at the countries that have been able to at least reduce or minimize or drastically minimize the impact of corruption, because there's no country that the people don't steal. They do steal somehow, somewhere.
Yeah.
It all comes to the political will. If you look at the countries that have been able to succeed to a certain extent, it is when you have a leader and a government that says zero tolerance, and zero tolerance means zero tolerance. And people have been put in front of firing squads, people have been jailed for life for corruption. But when I know I can be corrupt, people will make noise here and there, but I'll still get away with it. You cultivate that culture to continue to the extent that it has gone all the way down to the basics, to the ground, where it seems natural and normal. Sometimes you get government services, you are being asked for something. The police traffic stops are not for you to drive better on the roads, but literally trying to look for faults because they see an avenue of making money. So unless we have political will from the top, and it's followed up, I don't think corruption will remain talking about it. Unfortunately, we have not had a president who has said no to it and willing to go all the way and say, if I catch you with corruption, you are done, you are gone, and let the pain be so severe that it deters the rest. Because sometimes we look at corruption just as money stolen, the guy stole a few billions, but you realize the real cost of corruption is poor education, poor healthcare, poor roads, and poor development and less opportunities. Because that money is supposed to improve healthcare has been stolen. Money that is supposed to improve our education, our classrooms, our students, and everything has been stolen. Money that is supposed to improve the infrastructure has been stolen. That is the true cost of corruption. And the punishment for corruption should be equivalent to the punishment for murder. Because if someone doesn't get healthcare and they die because you stole, you have committed murder. You have been explicit and implicit in the commission of a crime that has led to the death of someone. It's like when you are driving on the road and you are drunk and you get involved in an accident and the other party dies. You're actually charged with homicide. You're actually charged with murder. So I think until the punishment for corruption is not just a few years in prison, 5 years, or you've lost your political seat, blah, 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 blah. But until it is you have stolen, those drugs could have saved lives. We are charging you with the murder of 200 people. Then people will start taking it a bit more seriously.
Okay, but I think we have, like where we are as a country, like the Gen Z have been able to push, because you say that is dependent on a leader. So we cannot just rely on a human being whose nature is inadvertently evil or greedy. And if there's no that political will, is the public pressure and participation a way to deal with that corruption. I think that even like in some of the counties, we can see some governors really working hard and giving education, water, and just facilities for their people and amenities for their people. And in other counties, we have the exact opposite. So this is the age of social media and, a lot of technology. So when the counties that do not have these things see that other counties are getting them, that public pressure, I think it can push out corruption, because if we just rely, and also the systems, I still feel that strengthening the judiciary and especially the judiciary, I think that can help. But I think, tell us your opinion on that.
But let me start on institutions. What other strength does judiciary actually need? You are a judge. You are supposed to give a verdict. You have all the authority and the power to give a verdict, and no one stops you from giving the verdict. But the judge is corrupt. What do you do? Yeah. You said social media pressure. For example, we had social media pressure on the airport deal, Adani and stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. And people might think, our noise stopped it. Yeah.
Yes.
But what happened to the people that did that deal? He got a promotion. He's now the Minister of Interior. So you can do all the pressure you want, but as long as there's no political will on top who says social media can bring out the corruption, but until there's political will to prosecute that corruption, you will make noise, you will scream, you will shout, and the guy is now in a docket which is even more powerful than the docket he was before, when the Adani deal was being done. And in essence, the deal collapsed because of a report in the US on corruption. If the US had not done that corruption deal, Adani would have carried on. So until you have that political will, I'll even give the example of the United States right now, with what they're doing with the Department of Government Efficiency. They've been talking about corruption, but until they've gotten a president who says, where is the money going and why? It's when these things are coming out or being shocked. Oh, this is what USAID has been doing all along. It's not like all the other presidents didn't know, but it took a president who had the political will and say, no, the people should know, and we need to bring a stop to this. So if you're the president with a political will, the corruption that has taken place would have been prosecuted. EACC will have gotten teeth. But they know they will not have any teeth, because if someone's fall is the presidency or cabinet or parliament and they run to there as the sanctuary, then your institutions, which have completely all the power, are then cut off at the legs. Judiciary has completely all the power to do it, but then most of the times they get compromised, or the cases never end up reaching the court. We have heard of some big fish, and that's the end of the story. We don't know what happened. Did they ever go to court? Did they settle in court? What happened to the court case? And some of these court cases should be public, so that the public actually knows what this guy has stolen, the impact of what they've stolen. And social media should bring out so and so is in court on corruption, and the like. But to say social media will stop corruption, no, it can facilitate exposing the corruption. But political will at the end of the day is what is needed, so that EACC can say, we have the backing of the president. Judiciary now says, I will convict this person and my life will not be in danger, because I've told them you are corrupt, you are going to prison for this number of, of years.
Okay, so I feel that, again, it lies with the public, how we vote and who we vote for. And I feel that what you're saying with social media, it's just that a knowledge of who are these exactly you're voting for. Are they fulfilling their promises, or are they just, wasting the money, or, being promoted and doing a corrupt deal over a corrupt deal? So I still feel, I agree with you that it's with the people of Kenya. I think our strength is just at the voters' ballot box. So I think that's political will can only be there if we choose the right leaders.